Well, hello and welcome back to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahida, and my fabulous co-host, Tracy.
Hey y'all.
So we were out last week. Well, we weren't out. Tracy was out of the country. She was enjoying her best life, and she's going to talk about that. But I was trying to post an old episode for some reason. I couldn't do it. It was late at night. I got tired.
And
So
you
I
got
just said,
chastised too.
I did by my friend Rose, and she texted me and she was just like, "Where's my episode?" And I'm like, "Oh, Tracy's in Honduras or whatever." She goes, "So I guess you're just gonna have to, talk to me all day." So all day, was it Tuesday? Actually, it was all day Tuesday. I was sending her voice emails, like, just so she could hear my voice.
I
Anyway,
love it. The voice notes. Too much. That's too funny. We
the
didn't mean
fact
to leave y'all hanging, especially after we came off such a hot episode. Like that episode from with Boys Room and Cindy was well received. And I think people were
everyone.
like, we're hungry for more content the following week. So I'm sorry guys. I apologize. I was on the beach. I ain't gonna lie.
So tell us about Honduras. How was it?
So, Honduras is mi país. That's, where both of my parents are from. One set of my grandparents are from, or three-quarters of my grandparents are from there. And so, and I've been going since I was 10 months old. I literally got a passport when I was 10 months old and was on a plane every year to Honduras from 10 months to like 13,
Till,
14 when I
I
started
was gonna say until last
feeling.
week.
No, till like I started feeling myself. I went
Okay.
every summer. Then I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to stay in Boston because the boys were in
Of
Boston
course,
and
of course.
everybody in Honduras is related to me. So those boys were not of particular interest. But anyway,
Well, I'm glad you didn't have any interest in your cousins.
girl, that's all that is down there. It's so funny. Like, it's a running joke among Hondurans too. We really don't try not to intermarry, especially
Mm-hmm.
Black Hondurans, because we definitely are related, if not on both sides of the family. So
Oh,
let's just
damn.
be clear.
Damn.
That might explain a lot of our temperament,
Oh,
but
okay.
but anyway,
Okay.
as an adult, I started returning to Honduras, and I would go like, once a year. Maybe I go on a
Mm-hmm.
cruise, get off the ship, whatever. But I was like, let me like lean into my family, and we decided to go a large group of us together from all different states around the U.S. And we descended on Honduras last week, and it was fun. It was my
Mm-hmm.
mom, her three siblings, and some of my first cousins, and then extended family that
Mm-hmm.
live on the island. So we hung. We had a good time.
That's not well. The pictures you sent, beautiful location.
Shahida told me she didn't care.
I, I no, that was the jealousy speaking. That was just the
She was
jealousy.
like, I don't care if you're on a beach. I don't want to hear that.
And Chris is in London, and he's sending me pictures too. And I don't care about him either.
Listen,
He's
y'all got to get
enjoying
on.
his best life again.
I invite you to come in and learn about Rotan and see it for yourself because it's a unique place. It's an island off the coast of Honduras that belongs to Honduras,
Mm-hmm.
but was settled originally by not necessarily just the Spaniards, but the English got involved,
Mm-hmm.
which is why a lot of Black Hondurans have American or English sounding surnames, Anglican
Mm-hmm.
surnames.
Mm-hmm.
So, like my grandmother was a Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
Bennett, Bodden, those are very common last names for the Black community
What
that
about
come
white?
from.
That should sound like it might be common. Isn't that
What
your
is it?
maiden name? White.
There are some whites. It's not as common, but like if you say Bodden or McField, like Cindy's a
Oh,
McField, there's a school named
that's
after one.
Scottish girl.
It is, but there's a school named after one of her relatives on Roatan. So you drive by the McField School, you drive by the
Mm-hmm.
Bennett School, like that's like Smith in the United
Okay.
States. So
Okay. Gotcha.
yeah,
Not like Ali.
I guess in other
My
places,
mama was a rebel.
in
She was like, no white slave names.
in other places, Ali is like is common.
I
Ali is
know.
common. So yeah,
Mhm.
it depends on where you are. But yeah, we had a good time. My Americanized side of the family, and I say that with love because I was born in America too. But some of my cousins, one of my cousins had never been to Honduras. This was our
Mhm.
first time, I believe, out of the country, possibly.
Okay.
And
So
another
culture
one,
shock?
what is it?
Was it a culture shock?
It was a culture shock for my cousins who are not used to like not having constant hot running water
Oh,
or it just being hot as blazes out there, which it was. Like you would
what
get
was
out
the
of the shower and start sweating. You and
what
the
was the
mosquito
temp? What was
was
the temperature?
like 85, but it's the equator 85 with heat,
Okay.
and then we're on the water. So
Okay.
the
I don't know the
humidity
difference.
85, 90. If you come from the Midwest, you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what that tropical is. Tropical heat.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
literally is tropical heat, and then the mosquitoes and the bugs, that
Okay. I get
just
that part.
otherworldly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even my body went into certain, like I got some weird bites, and I was just like, I never got a bite like this one before, but
Mm-hmm.
oh well, the show must go on.
Because 85 sounds like always perfect to me, but that's Rhode Island 85. I don't know. But I've been to like Barbados and Bahamas, and that 85, I thought the water just made it, better. No?
If you get in the water,
Oh,
it was hot, girl. It was I'm sure it probably was in the 90s too. It's just a different it's a
mm-hmm.
very different hot
Mm-hmm.
heat.
Because I feel like Louisiana hot, Mississippi hot is a different type of heat.
Yeah, but even like when you go to Vegas, it's
Mm-hmm.
hotter
Mm-hmm.
even in Vegas, and it was insufferable when I went there last July. So but it's just it's the heat, then it's the sounds and the senses and the animals and people talk super loud and
Mm-hmm.
there's a thick accent. So a lot is going on and it may
I
have
get
proven to
it.
be a
I
little
get
much
it.
for
I
some of
get
my
it. Well, I will definitely take you up on going to visit Honduras because at this point, I just want to go anywhere where I see a lot of black faces and I don't feel like I'm a target.
Oh yeah.
That ain't the United
You
States.
will be a target as a tourist. You'll be a different kind of
So
target.
I'll be with you.
You'll be with me. Yeah, you'll be
I'll be
going with
with
me.
you. So
We'll be going
I'll
out.
know how to behave. I know how to lay low. I'm not a typical American traveler.
Yeah.
I think black people when they travel a little differently than our counterparts. Not so loud and I'm American. I'm not that person.
Yeah, I think my cousins didn't realize how American they were till they got there, and
Mhm.
I had to tell them like pull their coattail to the side, like you gotta
Calm,
relax.
calm down.
You in a different country. you're you're
I'm
in a
all respect.
you're in a different place. But I felt
All
I felt
respect.
completely at home. I had a good time. There was a really sad incident that happened while I was there. There was a plane crash actually because we
Mhm,
live everything's it's an island. So you
mhm,
everyone lives near the airport or and
mhm,
nothing's far. And there was a small plane crash and that happened like right when I was about to take a small plane to go
mhm.
to the mainland and so I ended up canceling my plans for that.
Okay.
We had talked about that, Shahid, because I was gonna go visit some other relatives. I was gonna go to
Mhm,
some other places in my mom's actual hometown, which is on the mainland. But that crash, it was crazy because we were at a lunch the day before at my cousin's house, and
mhm.
we had taken all these beautiful pictures, and we were just remarking on how you could see the planes landing from
Oh,
her backyard. You because
yeah.
everyone has a pier. You know what I mean? Like they had a pier. We were taking photos, and the
Mhm.
planes were landing right behind us, and they were taking off, and blah blah blah. Mind you, like probably 10 planes took off, no
No
incident,
incident.
and
Yeah.
then this small plane crashed the day before I was going to come back,
Oh, that's
which is
that's.
the day we were going to go
Mhm. To
to
see the
do
other
this
island.
visit. Yeah, so it was like a day or two before I left. And a really famous Garifuna singer named Aurelio perished in that crash.
Mhm. Oh
And
wow.
then there was a
From
family.
Honduras.
Yeah, he's from Honduras. He's in,
Okay.
so he's part of the Garifuna culture, which is a different segment of the black population that actually retained the majority of their African culture. They have their own language, they
Oh,
have their own dances, their own food, which of course everyone has drawn from. So even you know, the other black culture, which is the English, the quote unquote English speaking ones. We
mm-hmm,
drew from Garifuna culture. We all know their dances, we know their food, all of that stuff, and their
mm-hmm,
music. And then of course the Spanish and also the other transplants. They all know Garifuna culture, and it's not exclusive to Honduras. There are Garifuna in Belize, in
mm-hmm.
Panama, and other parts of Central America, but they're pretty much like concentrated in Central American countries. So that was a huge hit for the community.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
well,
sad.
rest in peace. Yeah, that is sad, especially when you're on vacation and have something like that happen so close.
Yeah.
You
It
gotta take a
was
plane back.
it was nerve-wracking because we were literally going to get, not necessarily on that
Yeah,
flight. We were still trying to figure out,
a
oh,
small plane,
yeah.
and
But
I'm
like
always
I said,
nervous on small planes.
but lots of planes, like I said, I saw so many planes take off and come, and that's the thing. It's like one plane crash is enough to really ground you and make you feel your humanity. It was sad.
Did they find out what happened that it crashed?
I don't know the particulars about why it crashed, but one of the concerns that, the community has, and I consider myself part of that community too in some ways, is that the the public hospital burned down last year. I think it was last year.
Mhm,
And it was supposed to be rebuilt in 90 days. And
mhm,
a year later, no new hospital. So you all they have is a
mhm.
private hospital that you have to pay for if you want medical care.
Oh my, how's that
Yeah.
affect the island?
What was that?
I said, how does that affect the island? That
It affects
I
them
mean,
tremendously because people, so medical is a public service in Honduras. Now, if
mhm,
you're on the mainland, I'm sure there are plenty of public hospitals, and private
okay,
is good, is better service, obviously.
of
But
course.
just imagine you're going to have a baby now, and
Mhm,
you have to go pay to have your baby when everyone's used to just having their baby
yeah.
for free in the public hospital. Like I said, the care and the service and the facilities are better in the private, but it tremendously impacts the island. And so I'm actually looking to explore some opportunities to connect with people who might be able to help with
Mhm,
getting this hospital together sooner than later. And they have a female president in Honduras. I was really
mhm,
expecting more from her.
mhm.
But they had to med flight some of these people to the mainland just to get medical care after this crash.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that's
really
not good.
sad. And
Yeah.
not to say that having the public hospital would have prevented all the deaths, but it could have definitely. I mean, imagine you're like trying to get immediate medical attention and
Mhm,
you have to be med flighted and then you just come off of a plane that crashed. So
mhm,
now I don't know if they put them on a boat because a boat is an option too. You could,
mhm.
but just the trauma, it was really sad. They should have been a
Yeah,
hospital there.
that sounds bad. That doesn't sound good at all.
Hmm.
So, while you were gone, what did I do? Nothing.
Well, you were in the midst of Ramadan, which is
I'm
drawing to a,
still
a close.
in the midst of Ramadan, and it is coming to a close. I think we have 7 more days. Like I said, one of the things you're supposed to do when you're supposed to be reading the Quran, you're supposed to be, making sure, you're, praying, but also, kind of just kind of connecting spiritually.
Hmm.
And it has been going well. I had to fight a couple of days because I have not been on any social media. So if you notice, I'm not on Instagram right now. And so I'm trying to lay low from that because that is where my angst comes from. And that's where all the curse words start to really just bomb, 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 bomb. Is
Hmm.
with that. So, but it's coming up on 7 days. I think this is the first time in probably 30 years that I've gone straight without stopping.
Oh,
That
that's
just
good.
means, yeah, my body is like, because if you're menstruating, you don't fast for those days. So I'm a grown ass woman now. don't worry about that. And so this comes straight through. I'm like, I missed that little 5 day
Little
break.
get out of jail free.
That's exactly right. Well, one of the things I did do while you were away, of course, I'm watching TV, and
Mm-hmm.
I listened to Michelle Obama and her brother Craig Robinson's podcast. And I'm
Oh,
telling you guys, the very first one was with Issa Rae, and it was
wow.
about when to cut off friendships. Very good
Mm.
conversation. Craig, and it was another side of a side of Michelle we often get glimpses of, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, much more. She seems so much more relaxed with her brother, especially. You talked about their relationship. The conversation with Issa. I think Seth Rogen and his sister were on this week's episode talking about um, um, dealing with your mental health as you deal with a parent or relative that is physically ill that you might have to take care of.
Wow.
So they had that confidence. I only listened to a little bit of that one so far, but so far it's really good. But it's a really good podcast. I was really shocked. It's none of that. You know how Michelle Obama sometimes can be preachy.
I see. I don't think of her as a preachy person, but
Her other podcast was a
I haven't
little.
listened. I haven't listened to
Oh,
any of
okay.
them.
Her other podcast, which was good, and I like it, and but she can sometimes come off a little bit like zen and sometimes I don't want that. I just want you to just
When
talk
they go
like this.
low,
I don't want. She don't even say that no more.
she tired of it. She tired of it. Go ahead, Michelle.
The thing with Michelle, this is funny about Michelle. Michelle started off MLK, and now she's Malcolm X. Like MLK started off MLK, and before he died, he was Malcolm X.
I love it. I love it. I'm glad to see her let her hair down, and I also like the dynamic of doing it with her sibling. That's
Mhm,
kind of cute.
mhm.
I like that. I'm gonna have
So
to take a listen.
it was, and his male perspective on friendships and what they talk about, hilarious. When I say Issa and Michelle clowned him so hard, she not only clowned him, she clowned Barack. They just clowned men totally about how their friendships evolved compared to how women's friend, which is totally different. And
Yeah.
it was really funny. It was really funny. So I enjoyed it. I
I'm gonna have
enjoyed it.
to
So I
check
think
that
that.
out.
And
'Cause that,
another one that I
yeah,
checked out, it's a show. Have you seen Meghan Markle's show with Love Megan?
I have not. I'm aware of it, but I haven't watched it because I don't know if I would normally watch something like that
Me either.
anyway.
That's not usually my cup of tea, lifestyle shows. But I
Mhm.
used to read her blog, The Tig.
Okay.
Every once in a that was like years ago before she married into the royal family. And what is her proper title? Is it Duchess Megan? Because I just feel like I need to give this woman her respect. Is it Duchess Megan? Because I know it's not Markle anymore.
She's just Megan to me. So I guess Mindy Kaling went on her show and called her Meghan Markle. And then she was like, no, I use the same surname as my kids, Sussex. And then there was a big debate
Okay, so
about
Megan Sussex then.
that. So she said that, but
That's
then
that would be her surname.
there's a debate about whether that's their last name or not.
Who's the debate coming from? Because that
I
was
don't
the
know.
thing.
She said Megan Sussex. I'm gonna call her Megan Sussex.
Okay, so that's what I'm gonna
I
call
don't
her.
know.
If she doesn't say anything about being called Duchess, but I'm like, let's put some respect on her name and her position because the hate that she gets is unreal. So that was
From all sides.
the only reason I watched it was because she thinks that she's better than everybody else, and she's unrelatable, and just. But it was worse than that. It was, much worse than that. So I said,
People just don't like her face. This is one of them things. They just like when I say don't like her face, I mean that people just like her for don't dislike her for no reason. People
they
dislike her for
absolutely
no
dislike
reason.
her for no reason. I get why some people don't like her because it's just pure racism. And those are the loudest voices online. So I did watch 2 episodes, and I did watch the one with Mindy Kaling, and I did see that little that clip. But it was good.
Oh, okay.
It was good.
I have to catch up on so much. I got to catch up on White Lotus. I got to catch up on 90 Day Last Resort. I got to catch up on. I finally caught up on Married at First Sight, and I watched both of the after shows. But in regard to Meghan Markle, I'm like, this lady's been through enough. I have no, I
Is
have
she still
no
like
reason to judge her.
it?
None.
The very first episode where people were saying she's like unrelatable or whatever. Okay, she's unrelatable. Why? Because she lives a soft life, because she likes gardening, because she likes,
Because she's a freaking
people.
princess.
Yeah, but she's still like who she was. Like, if you had read her old blog, she's only just kind of like morphed a little bit more into
But
what
my
she
thing
had
is,
already
don't look at
started.
it. You do not have to watch this show.
It was good.
You
So
know,
one of the
no
things
one's
she
forcing
did
anyone.
was she did a lemon, she did a lemon cake. And anytime you say lemon cake for me, I'm like all in, all in. But she
Mm,
did a lemon cake delicious. But she did that one pot spaghetti.
okay.
I was so impressed.
I'm like, that sounds very down to earth because
It's
I,
so it looked delicious. And then I actually went to, was it Better Homes and Gardens? Somebody wrote an article about it, like, is that really a good pasta? And I thought they were going to slam it, but no, they said it is delicious. It absolutely looks delicious. So I
okay.
said, you know what, that might be our meal for book club.
All right.
I think I'm gonna, have us like a Duchess book club meeting in November, and but
Okay.
there,
I'm always
but
down for
I have other episodes to get through, so I might find another one that I like. But I'm definitely gonna stick with that theme. But it was actually pretty good. It was
okay.
actually pretty good, and I just don't understand the hate.
It's one of those things, like, especially it's one of those outside looking, it's haters. It's basically haters. And I think the people that do like her or don't have an opinion either way just don't say as much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what it is. I'm sure she has a ton of fans, and people love her and like her. But I'm like, let her get her Martha Stewart on. I am not mad at this.
That's
Let
what I'm
her.
saying. It's the same as like, but people hate Martha Stewart
They
and
really do.
relatable. Like you can't win. But the stuff that she was doing, like the gardening and all that stuff. I mean, I was surprised because that is not my cup of tea. I am not a lifestyle channel type person. I watch cooking shows only to salivate and just then go get a burger. It's not, it's not totally my thing, but no, it was actually pretty good.
Okay. Something to check out when I'm done through going through my roster of stuff that I have to follow on my shows, because I really didn't watch much TV. So I do want to clarify
Mhm.
that everything we have here, they have in Honduras. We Hulu, Netflix, all of that. There was no time. Like, literally, we had no downtime to be watching TV. We were at the club, we were on the beach, we were at restaurants, we were just doing so much. Now, by the time I got home at
Mhm.
night, I was just ready to crash
Mhm. Mhm.
and wake up and do it all over again the
That's
next
the
day.
best
So,
kind of vacation is when you can tap out of that stuff.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like the time that I've spent away from like, MSNBC and Instagram, even though I miss it, it's actually helping me say like, you know what, I can do something far better than
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's in I read somewhere actually last week that it's important not to look at your phone the minute you wake up, because they were like, that sets the tone for your day. So
Mhm.
get up, eat something, think about what you're going to do for the day, plan ahead, maybe start work or start, some kind of itinerary or something like that, but wait to get on your phone. Don't jump immediately on your phone, because if you're, especially if you're impacted by the things that you read on your
Mhm.
socials or in the news, it sets the tone literally for your entire day, whether you realize it or not.
'Cause it is a dumpster fire in America right
Oh,
now.
it's
A complete
can I
dumpster.
tell you? So, I'm in Honduras. I'm like, oh, I'm escaping America.
Mhm.
The amount of times that people brought up American politics to me, I was like, y'all are paying attention to this? And they're like, yeah, because it's terrible.
It's
I was like, oh, even y'all know that this is.
You know what? One of the most shocking things that came out this week that I was like totally. I mean, I know the Department of Education, all this stuff is pretty big, but the whole thing with Tesla, with the Attorney General saying that if you um not violate, that's not the word.
Oh, if you did just damage, if you
Yeah, if any kind of like physical damage to the buildings or graffiti, that it is
vandalize is the word.
vandalized. That's the word I was like. If you
Menopause
vandalize
brain. I'm like,
a Tesla, that is an act of terrorism. The Department of Justice, terrorism. There's a picture of a Tesla dealership in Chicago, and there's like 20 police officers, Chicago police officers, standing in front of it so that people won't vandalize it. When did the
why
federal
is the
government get
taxpayer
involved?
responsible for that? Cash in your insurance. You have insurance for that reason. If they get vandalized, cash in your insurance, get some more, and build a fence. I don't know. Why is that now? Please.
And why is that, of all the things that happen here, terrorism?
I'm glad he's losing
Terrorism?
business though. They kicked Tesla out of some conference for safety reasons.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
I hope they keep drowning. And I was in, where was it? Pawtucket the other day, and there was two black guys in a Tesla truck, and I'm like, I don't know when you bought it. I don't know, what your reasonings for buying it, but this man is so anti-black. He's so anti-black and he's very vocal. And I know people want to pretend like they don't hear it. Why would you put that amount of money in his pocket? Don't understand it, anyway.
A lot of people never connected that dot, but I just want to say for the record that the world is watching and they are laughing at our asses right now. I'm just letting you
Mhm.
know. I went all the way down to the equator and they're talking about it down there. My cousin, my mom's cousin, who's like older than my mom. So this lady's in her 80s. First thing she out of her mouth to me was about our administration. I was like, okay. All right.
Amen. But I get it. It's like it really is embarrassing, some of the things that they are deciding to focus on. And the I think the administration is embarrassing, but it's more so the Trump supporters are extremely embarrassing because they are jumping through hoops to make excuses for the actual idiocy that's coming out of this,
Did you
administration.
see the woman? She's Venezuelan. So there was a big following of Venezuelans that supported him. This
Hmm.
woman, her somebody got deported. Something happened. And now mind you, the whole interview is in Spanish because
Hmm.
obviously her preferred language is Spanish. So your preferred language is Spanish. I'm not going to
But they
say
don't want to hear that. None of the other Trump supporters want to hear you speaking in the store. But go ahead.
so, right. So I'm not going to assume she doesn't speak English. She did
Hmm.
not speak English in this interview with this Miami news station, but she was really up there saying, "Oh, I thought he was just going to get rid of the bad ones." Like, girl.
Hmm.
And she's like, "And now we're in fear of our lives, as you should be, because you did this.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
did this." And
Hmm.
I don't feel sorry for people like that. I'm like, y'all got to go now. Sorry.
This is man too. His wife is in holding by ICE, and he voted for Trump. I don't know where she's from, but she is of Hispanic descent, and he
Oh,
voted for
the
Trump.
Caucasian man, right?
Right, and then he said he still would vote for Trump.
They went on vacation, right? Did they go on vacation and that's how it
I
happened?
think it was her that went on vacation. He was home. And
Okay.
then on her way back, I think maybe it was like a girls' weekend or something. So, people leaving the country, I would suggest you do not.
And this is people who may feel that they are legally in the country. So, an example,
Hmm.
this kidney doctor from Rhode Island went to her country. I believe her country was Lebanon. She
Hmm.
returned home for a visit to Lebanon, possibly for Ramadan. Not sure why she went.
Mhm.
regardless. She should be able to go home and come back with the visa that she has, because not only does she have a
Because
legal visa,
yeah.
she is a kidney specialist doctor who has a special skill. So that used to be a thing. If you had a special,
We
extraordinary
need her.
skill, we need her,
We
right?
need
Her patients need her.
her. Mhm.
Okay. And her patients are not just Muslims like herself.
Mhm.
They're everybody who comes to get medical care at her facility that
Mhm.
she works at. She left the country, went to Lebanon, and was refused reentry back into the United States because
Now,
they're saying her visa was invalid, which her attorney disputes.
so was it just her visa, or was she anti-Israel?
According according to them, she had some things on her phone. How they got on her phone, I'm
Yeah,
curious. Why
they
are
took
you
her phone.
why are you in this lady's phone saying
Mhm.
that she was saying some things that were inflammatory and against the United States? So what? Let her back in. Let her save the lives.
Mhm.
They were trying to like frame her in as it's some kind of terrorist sympathizer or a terrorist.
Mhm.
Until you have that proof on this lady, let her back in the country. You deal with that another way. And again, I'm questioning, how do you know what's on her phone?
They illegally took her phone, they said. Well, that's what
So
the papers are alluding to, because I
yeah, so I have a big
I'll have
problem. I have a big problem with all of it. And
to.
I understand protecting American soil. I understand that. But if this woman's actively working at a hospital and she's not killing anybody on the table, bring her back and let her finish healing people.
Can I say something about protecting American soil? I'm glad you said that. White Anglo-Saxon Americans have not been safe since they landed here. They haven't felt safe. They were scared of the Indians. Then they brought in Africans. Then Africans got free, and then they were afraid of the black people. Then Irish came over here. They were afraid of the Irish. Italians came over here. They were afraid of them. Hispanics are here. They're afraid. When have they ever felt
They're afraid of
safe?
Asians too. They're not
Right.
physically,
But
but
my
mentally.
point is just that they're never, it's always going to be something. It's always going to be someone. There's always going to be a reason why you need to drive a big truck with guns and stuff plastered. Maybe it's not us. Maybe it's not all these people. Maybe it's you. Maybe the weakness is you. Maybe the person who's like the snowflake is not us, it's you. All of a sudden, it's always somebody else, and you have men like Trump and Elon, and then you have Netanyahu and Putin. These four men, these four billionaires who have all this money, yet they still don't feel safe in the world. I don't even understand it. Everybody's afraid of somebody a shade darker.
Well, you know what? Like eventually America's going to get, and this is what they're trying to stop, obviously. We're going to get to a point where we're going to be more, sorry, more mixed than anything. That's what we're trending towards. And I think we're still trending in
We're
that
still going to
direction.
be trending towards it. Yeah, I
You know
believe
what
it.
I mean?
Mhm.
So then what? You know what I mean? And this is not to put a blanket over everyone, because I don't want anyone to put a blanket statement over me as a black person, but this is the consistent thought process of the patriarchy. Let's be clear. And the patriarchy is majority Caucasian men.
Mhm. And unfortunately, with that blanket statement, you've proven it century after century after century. Your Christianity is not like other people's Christianity. It's not based in spiritualness or godliness. It's based in who you can subject to your foot on their neck, including
Mm-hmm.
your women, including other races. Because I there's a coworker of mine. You would think she goes to church every single week, helps out
Mm.
people in this church. Tell me how you support a person like Trump. There's nothing godly about this man. This man has brought in, what is those two guys that he brought in that are like drug, I mean not drug traffickers, but women traffickers, girl, and they're from Romania, and begged Romania to send them over here. Two brothers, I can't think of their names right now. Two brothers, and Trump wanted them in the United States. They are brought up on charges for trafficking women and rape. And they have a podcast, and you listen to their podcast, the most disgusting vibe. This is where we are going in this country.
Hmm. And so, a lot of people are just like, well, what do we do now? Because Black women are tired. Let's establish that we are tired. So, like, trying to rescue everybody is very exhausting for us. You know what I mean? So, to a point we have to fall back, but to a point we have to also leap forward. So it's like we're resting so we can we can get to the part where we fix this, because we're gonna have to fix it, obviously.
I think we start in our own communities first. I mean, someone talked about, what was it, Trevor Noah, and he got a lot of flack for this. He said that integration ruined the Black community.
Oh, it did. That
And
I think everybody Black understands that
I,
we didn't want it for the reasons you think we wanted it for.
mhm.
We
And the thing is, it is good. We should be able to live where we live. We should be able to go where we want to go. I mean, we should have the same rights as any
we
other
should have the same quality.
states. Exactly. And the fact is that when we integrated, we got rid of our own businesses, our own schools. And we see right now that I'm looking at the generation behind us, although they have some great ones in there, they don't know Black history like they do. But white Americans don't know history like they should, American history. And when I say American history, I mean how it encompasses everything. Because we should not still be teaching our children about the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. I say that all the time because that was just a bold-faced lie. And the lie is that when our children go to school, they learn a history that make white men the heroes. They are not the heroes. 9 times out of 10, they are the villains. And that's the problem with how we teach it. And so with integration, we fell right into that, like, oh, they were the hero, they saved us, that mentality. We took away our businesses because it was better to get it from the white store because they're the hero. Took away, our own banks. It's better to go to the white bank because they're the
But
hero.
why did we have to fall into that? Because they were burning our shit and sinking our shit underwater. So
Right.
we were just like, you know what?
We were.
Obviously.
We were. That's a part of it. Yeah. After we built up those things and they got successful, but we leaned on each other after slavery, and we just have to go
And it
back.
was it was
They
actually the
be violent
adversity.
again. They might come for those again, but we should never be in the mind frame that we are now, where we trust these people to take care of us, where we trust these people to do the right thing. We need to depend on each other. Like the Hispanic community depends on that community, the Asian community depends on them. All that other stuff, dealing with the white populace, that's secondary. For us, they're first and primary, and then we come maybe third or fourth, because then we go to other groups for other things. And that's where integration, in my opinion, really kind of hurt us. And that's what we got to get back to. And I'm like, even from listening to your cousin, 2 weeks ago, where she's going and how she's teaching these children to have a certain respect for themselves, and learning how to navigate in these circles where people literally will call them the N word for no reason. And we give their children a pass while our children are being traumatized.
Yeah.
So integration was, so I get what, Trevor Nova was saying, but we need to start having some internal conversations. The NAACP, it needs to be a lot more louder than it has been over the last few decades. We need to, and what the first thing we need to do is grab up our young ones. Grab up our young ones. They might go to these public schools, but we need to be teaching them.
And we just don't have the leadership. We don't have the leadership as a community. You know what I mean? We just don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have some people here and there. Ben Crump, Al Sharpton's still out here doing his thing. Jesse Jackson used to be a really loud voice. Not necessarily that you agree with everything that he would say.
He's sick and old.
Right,
That's
but he
the thing.
but
There's
he would
nobody that came
he
up
would come out and he would talk. You know what I mean?
after.
Farrakhan would come out and talk. These guys are getting old.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say they can't still lead, but who's next? We don't have I don't know who the next leader is. You know what I mean? I don't and
No. Yeah.
obviously that's by design. So I'm hoping that by dismantling some of this stuff, because the adversity is what pushed those, when Trevor Noah was saying that segregation or desegregation was
Did
like
I
the
say
downfall.
integration? I said integration. I mean, go ahead, yeah. Well,
Right.
that's done. Because what did Trump just do this week
He did that for
on
the
federal level?
government. He just got rid of the segregation laws within the
Mhm.
government.
But you
Um,
know, some Yahoo in Texas is going to push their luck and put up a white only sign. You know
oh,
that's
go
going
ahead. Our bathrooms will be cleaner. But anyway,
to happen.
that adversity is what pushed us to be better, to
Exactly.
do better, to soar higher. So
Hmm.
we could be mediocre right now because people really, really went hard for us, and we, started to kind of feel in a safe place where that we felt that adversity wasn't there,
Exactly.
and that's how come we kind of chilled for a little bit. But
Hmm.
now we're going to have to crank it back up again, and we're going to see more of that rising excellence. So they are dismantling a lot of DEI stuff. But then on the same token, there are other things that are coming down the pike, like Harvard is, letting students go if for free if their family makes under 200K. I don't
Hmm.
know what I mean, obviously you have to be super smart to go to Harvard, but there are other programs like that. So while some programs are going away, take advantage of the programs that are out there,
Yeah.
that, and we've been here before,
Hmm.
and DEI is not a black thing anyway. It's never really done as much for us as it's done for other populations. So just lean into the fact that black women are the fastest growing educated group in the United States,
And it's been that for like at least 10 years.
with the highest degrees, highest level of degrees. Lean into that. Understand that the school to prison pipeline usually starts kicking off around third grade. Be cognizant of that when your kids are in school, and start preparing them. Not saying that, I'm trying to keep you out of jail, but start prepping them for the world,
Hmm.
and start setting them up for success the best way you possibly can. So, those are the
And
things
we
that
have a lot of
we just have to do.
examples.
Yeah.
We have a lot of examples if we look to the past and we see what black women and black men did then. Like you said, we got soft, we, got comfortable, we all bought our own homes when
We had a black president for 2 terms. We
was
thought we
locked
had
out,
made it.
and so, we felt that this country was, accepting now of, just our part in it. But I think the message we need to go going forward is never trust that again. Never trust that again.
Hmm.
Do what you can, but keep our community first and foremost at all times, because I feel like racism in this form that we're seeing it now just rears its head up like every century. It's, and it might not be America, it could be another country like it was, with Germany. It just comes back. And one thing that Jews learned about, their situation in Germany with dealing with Nazis, and they learned to stick together, and that
Hmm.
community came first. And that's what we have to learn from this.
And
Is
and
how
that doesn't
we came
mean
first.
that you're pushing down anybody else. It's the
No.
upliftment. It's our upliftment,
That's
because we
what
have
makes
to.
you stronger. You can love your own community, and that's the difference with I think there's always like an Instagram saying white people get upset when they see black pride because or black nationalists because they think it means kill white people or
Because that's
down
what
with
their
white
version
because
means.
that's their version of it. because
That's what
it's
they're
never
version.
white pride. And like, I have pride where I come from. I'm from Scotland, pride in that. And then not putting other people down. Black people are not, if black people wanted to be like white people, this would be a whole different country.
We
This would
don't
be a
want
country on fire.
we literally are not trying to take this dumpster fire over. We just want to live.
Really, some of like and when we live and be happy, that makes you mad. When we're poor and unhappy, well, we've never been unhappy.
Listen,
You've
while
never
they're
affected us
tearing
like that.
down, administrations, and they're about to take all y'all food stamps, and we know who's going to be hardest hit by that. Black people out here learning a new dance with a fan, okay, and we are having a good time.
No,
So
I'm learning how to garden from Megan Sussex. That's what I'm doing.
Megan
I
Sussex.
have my seeds already brought. I'm like, I'm gonna try some of this.
I talked to a guy this morning, an African American man who was raising his own chickens. He's like, "Y'all playing with these eggs? I got my own chickens."
Does he live in Rhode Island?
He does.
He needs to sell some of those eggs. Is
I'll
he
talk to
selling?
him. I'll talk to him.
Bring that to the farmers market because that's all I'm all about trying to support that right now.
And
Yes, sell some of
I
them
went
eggs.
out the other day and bought like what 18, what was a dozen and a half eggs. Them eggs are sitting. I don't even eat eggs like that. I could care less about these freaking
We
eggs.
do. We eat eggs up in here. They go fast.
Maybe if I'm gonna batter something, I don't eat eggs like that.
No, love
So
them, love them. But speaking of eggs, you know what Sharon has now on 95? They have
what?
Costco. Costco opened in Sharon off of 95. What? 2 weeks ago? My father went 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Tanya went yesterday, and they said
Hmm.
huge, huge. So I'm so glad because I did want to. I was actually going to get me a Costco membership, but I was like, you know what? I'll trek it to Avon. I'll stop by, see my parents or whatever, and I'll go over there. But don't even got to do that anymore.
I'm gonna
Don't
have
even
to
have to
go
do
check out
that. Have
Costco.
it. So yeah, it's. I think that I forget what exit you get off, but it's that Foxborough Sharon exit. So instead of
So
Foxborough,
somewhere around Walmart, like right around there. Sounds like.
so Walmart, I don't know. So I'm only.
The Walmart's in Walpole, so it must be somewhere in that vicinity because it's like Westwood,
I know it's like where the
Walpole, Sharon.
strawberry farms are. Like that exit you get off to go to the strawberry farms.
Okay.
I think that's exit 8.
I'll have to
But
check
anyway,
that out.
so we have a Costco on this side. I don't know when they're gonna come to Rhode Island because it seemed like they bucking and
They
shucking on
really
that
have
one.
been pushing back on coming to Rhode Island. They
Like,
haven't
what's
really.
the problem?
I don't know. Probably money.
Well, anyway. So yeah, that's my Rhode Island news. My
Well,
Rhode
we
Island
do have some
news.
other Rhode Island news.
Yeah.
There's a woman that's missing right now, and not only missing, but there's a criminal investigation. She's a woman who's described as being on the autism spectrum, and she is part of a group home in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and was supposedly out on a shopping excursion with caregivers. Her name is Linda Delumba, and she's 44 years old. She's a very petite in stature. She's about 4'11",
Yeah, she's
um,
tiny.
and she's tiny. And turns out this caregiver's account of her whereabouts is inaccurate, and they have
Mhm.
video footage to back up the fact that she's not where they're saying that she was at the time of her disappearance. So if anyone has seen this woman or knows her whereabouts, please contact the FBI, contact the Cranston Police Department, contact somebody, because it's really sad when, and especially with services for disabled people on the chopping block right now. The fact that she's in this group home right now, and I'm not saying services were cut there, you never know what's going on with your family. And if you have someone in your family that has mental disabilities, the last thing you really want to do is put them in one of these facilities. So usually if they go there, it's a last resort type of thing, and it's very
Some people
sad.
has no family. It could be a situation
It
like that.
could be. It could be.
For sure, she's nonverbal, and
Yeah.
that she doesn't have any family, and just has to be there. But regardless, she's still a human being, and they need to treat her well. And this woman saying that the woman, the caretaker, is saying that she got lost when she went to the bathroom at Burlington Coat Factory. Why do people not understand that there are cameras everywhere now? They,
Everywhere.
there are cameras everywhere, good or bad, but definitely good when you tell a bold-faced lie and you weren't even there in
So
that
it's like,
place.
what are you hiding? What do you have to
Exactly.
hide? You
Mhm.
know, there should be cameras on the transport that even took the people if they were going, like all of that stuff. And so obviously this woman's caught in a lie. The fact that the Federal Bureau of Investigation is involved means that this is now a criminal case
Mhm.
because there's something going on. So I believe the police probably know more than they're actually letting on
Of course they do. Yeah.
to the public, but I hope there's some accountability because this is very sad, and I hope this woman is found alive and well. That's
Yeah.
my hope.
Yeah. Me too. That's scary and unfortunate.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate that we have a lot of caregivers in these fields. And honestly, I'm one of those people that say they deserve way more money than they're paid, because just like with teachers, dealing with people with special needs or dealing with the elderly in those type of situations, and like nursing homes or facilities like that, that's a lot of work, and they get
mm,
paid close to nothing, and
yeah.
they're not staffed well. So I don't know what was going on there, but it's just one of those things that as a country we have never cared about. When people, especially our elderly, that you get to a certain age, you worked your entire life, and unless you had like a very good job, you could very well just end up in like a state assisted facility. And because even the ones that you have to pay for, they don't have the greatest help either. And those are things that we need to think about, as especially in under this administration, as we're going forward, that we need to take better care of each other.
Hmm.
And we really need to advocate for each other, whether or not you know somebody that's autistic, or whether or not you're dealing with elderly people. We all need to speak up. We all need to do better. I watch you listen to other people in other countries talk about how they deal with their elderly, and we should really be ashamed.
They keep them at home. They don't. They really don't do third party like
Hmm.
elderly facilities and things like that and disabilities. That you usually stay home and you're cared for at home by your family.
But as much money as our country has, even if they had to go into a nursing home, it should be easier, one, on the family that has to put them there, but also the facility should be nice. They have worked hard all their
And
life.
they're not.
Do
They're
that.
not. Nursing homes are disgusting. And
They
like you
are. They
said,
are.
even the rehabilitation centers, which are essentially businesses, like
Mhm.
keeping it real,
That's
I've
it.
dealt with family members um through this system, and some of them, the elderly, are getting injured in these facilities. They're and then the facilities are kicking them out while they're at the hospital getting care. That happened to a colleague of mine. Her grandmother would come up with all these injuries that they couldn't explain, and she'd end up in the ER, and while she was in the ER they would discharge her from her facility, and she wasn't safe to be kept at home. That was happening. There'd be instances, and if you do put your loved one in one of these places, be it a group home or facility, you have got to be riding these people like a horse. And I
Mhm.
mean that with
Mhm.
all due respect, because a lot of these facilities, they do not take care of people. They're getting bed sores, they're wandering
Understaffed.
around, they're
Mhm.
getting hurt, all of that stuff. And if you just drop them off and you're not regularly showing up to let them know that there's someone who cares about this person, you it's despicable the type of care that some of these people are receiving. It's awful and it's abusive,
And
actually.
this is comes back to what? we often talk about is wage in America. You know, you have corporations, CEOs making billions of dollars that control these facilities, yet don't want to pay the staff
Mm-hmm.
a livable working wage. Now the thing is a person working for a nursing home shouldn't have to have two jobs. I feel shouldn't
Yeah.
have to have two jobs and shouldn't have to do insane amount of overtime just to live. You know, and that's the talking point of uh, of 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 conservatives is pull yourself up from your bootstrap and blah 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 blah. But then a person can't do that if they're consistently always just chasing just to get one bill paid. You know, and not everybody's going to be a doctor. Not everybody's going to go to school to be, you know, a plumber or a CEO of a company, but everybody should be able to afford to live if they are working. And why do we spit on people that clean the bathrooms? You know,
Mm-hmm.
oh, they're just the janitor. But that's what we actually need. We need a janitor. We
Right.
need teachers. We need, you know, not everybody's going to be a basketball player or a baseball player. We shun the jobs that keep America running and highlight the jobs like, you know, everybody praises Musk on being this brilliant person. He's not even a brilliant person, but yet he's getting billions of dollars and can't pay the people that work for him a real livable wage. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
I think need a French Revolution going on
The
here.
Celtics just got
Oh
bought
girl,
for
go
6.1, not
ahead.
million,
Mhm.
billion US dollars.
And the fact that to see a good team play at the Boston Celtics, you're paying $400 to $500 for one seat. So when people be like, "Oh, good family fun," what family? What family? 1%'s family,
Because
maybe.
that
But
there's the ticket. Then you got to park. Then you got to feed these people. You're like at $1,000 for
no,
a
you're
family of
more than
four.
1,000 because one ticket can be $500. So if you have a family of four, come on, that's insane. And yet they're making money. They are
And
making
so for
cool
someone
money.
to invest $6.1 billion in a team,
They know they're getting it back.
how much you think he's gonna get back? He don't want his 6.1 back. He wants that plus. He
Hmm.
probably wants triple that.
And I think
So
that was the highest paid
it is.
in
It
the
is the
NBA.
highest. It is the
Mhm.
highest that was ever
So
paid.
there's money out there. Like I said, I think we just need a French Revolution. Enough of this. Enough of this. No one should have to be working to bust their behinds just to eat some freaking eggs. That's where we're going. And it's insane. It's insane to see these same people who were saying, you know, it was just too hard, you know, a couple of months ago, falling in line and protecting that 1% like we're seeing now. You know,
Hmm.
when it was Biden in office, it was like, you know, oh my God, everything is so expensive. Now you're like, well, things take time. You know, he has a plan.
I
You know,
thought it was gonna be day one. I heard day one. I heard day one you was gonna be doing the good for the people, and it's day, and we ain't seen nothing yet
so ain't
except sadness. He's not just literally you just every day you take a
every day,
shit
every day.
every freaking day. What good have you done for anyone?
The average American.
For
What
any for yes
don't look at our
for the
401k.
99, for the 90, girl, those the stock market
Don't
is
look at our 401k. Now, I remember a couple co-workers like, oh my God, I gotta check my 401k, blah blah, because I don't know what Biden's gonna do. But the whole 4 years, my 401k was looking good. And now it's looking
didn't
good now.
the stock exchange have like its lowest day in history for like decades and in decades. It just is like,
And it's not gonna get any better.
and you're teasing a recession, like that's cute. I'm sick of
Mhm.
you, brother.
But they said that we were going, if Trump got in office, the Wall Street Journal, his favorite paper, said if he got in office, we would fast track to a recession. And we are anyway. But happy news, I will say, the NCAA was in Rhode Island. There were 4 games that they played this weekend. So I think it started on what, Thursday they came in, but downtown was lit. It was
Oh
just
yeah.
cold. It was. They had like all the bars had like, tents out. There were basketball hoops and stuff where, it was I gotta say, when Providence decide they want to party, they throw a mean party.
And all next week is gonna be a comedy party because
I
Little Rhodey Laugh Festival is coming all next week, and it's just everywhere all over the city.
know.
We do know how to have a good party in Providence.
I think Providence does. I mean, Rhode Island in on a whole, but when I say Providence, when they say downtown Providence decides to just go in, they go in. And it's usually a good time.
Yeah,
So I
that's
was I was
exciting.
I was surprised. I wanted to bring Darius to some of the basketball stuff, but it was cold. But it might be nice to go out there now because I think that they are, what is today? The 22nd. So they wrap up on the 23rd.
Okay, yeah. So tomorrow, get it in while you can get it in, and
And the food hall opened this week.
yes.
I went on Thursday. I went
What did
Thursday.
you eat?
Did not eat anything because I was with my lunch crew and I'm still fasting. So
Oh,
I went to see my coworker Will. I mean, we always get Dunes, but he got Dunes fish sandwich. It looked good, but and I was telling this to my actual boss. I said, "Oh," I was explaining to her, and she was like, "Oh, it's like Faneuil Hall," and I'm like, "No, it's not like Faneuil Hall." And I was like, "God damn, it is like Faneuil Hall.
just all like food. Yeah. But
It is
that's
so much like
exciting because
Faneuil
that
Hall."
used to be the old train station, right? Is that
Used
what?
to be an old train station, and then I forget what restaurant. I know a part of it was Capitol Grill, and then the other part was, I forget the name of the restaurant. But it used to be 2 restaurants in that space.
So it's
And
called
so
Track 15.
track
So
15,
you can go on track15.com and you'll be able to see all the restaurants that are part of it.
yes, Indian, Italian, pizza, fish, and like they have like lobster and everything. So it's
Yeah,
fish.
I definitely want to check it out. That's very exciting because that was like, a long time coming. We've been really anticipating this. And so for it to finally be open is very exciting. So
You know what they're missing? And everybody said it, and I wasn't even the one to say it first.
a black,
Dessert.
you said,
Dessert.
oh, do they have a black owned?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, dessert.
Just like, yeah, they don't have any good dessert or anything. So that's what I feel is like, just they just need to
Shahida's like, and
add
I
it.
didn't even bring that up. That
I didn't
wasn't me.
even
I'm
that wasn't
surprised.
me that time because usually I'm the one with the dessert, but nope, that's what. But it was good. It was I can't wait to actually go there and eat. I'm not gonna have dunes because I always have dunes. I'm gonna try something different. The
So
pizza
it's
was
actually
really good.
track15ri.com to correct
Oh,
me. So
okay, yeah.
track15ri.com is where you can go and see all the different restaurants that are part of it.
The pizza, I don't. What is it? Maria's? I forget. The pizza looked really good, really good.
Well, we have another bit of really the most exciting Rhode Island news that we have.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. What is?
So your girls, Tracy and Shahida, for the second year in a row, are nominated for a Motif Spoken Award. So last year, we got nominated. We don't even know how we got on the ballot last year. And we were just like, okay, fingers crossed. We won. We got our award last year at Myrtle. You see it behind Shahida with this, it's red and it's gold microphone. So we are nominated again. We want to bring it home again this year, and we need your help. We need your help. We need you to vote for us. So you can actually click the link on our Instagram, the link in our bio, which provides the direct ballot to vote for us. Please, consider all the great candidates that are in the other categories. Some of our friends who've been on our show, like Craig, Amaziah the Great, of course, Rudy, Rudacious, our resident poet laureate. So many people, friends of ours, Sarah from Outspoken, who has not been on our show yet. She'll be on the show this year. She's also nominated. Some of our counterparts are also on the ballot for best local podcast. We wish everyone the best, but we want to win this. So y'all got to vote for us. We're at the very last category at the bottom of the ballot. It's easy. You put your
17.
email in. Let's go. And
Lucky number 17.
pull up on April 15th, because you can actually come and watch the live awards presentation at Myrtle. So, may the best podcast win. That's all I can say. But please let it be us, Jesus. Sweet baby black Jesus.
That's us. Clap for us.
Sexy
Yeah, that's
chocolate.
exciting. That's exciting to be nominated again. I feel, really happy about that. That's exciting news because we work hard.
We
We work
do, and
hard.
and we brought you guys Gabe Amo last year. I mean, we brought
We
the
got to get
heat.
him back because we have some questions. We want to know what's going on. We got to
Yes,
get him back. We're gonna get
we
you back.
we brought y'all some hot content. Like, we stepped our game up, especially after winning the award last year. We were like, we got to bring it now. So now I feel I can honestly say that we tried to really put the content out there to make you guys happy, to give you a little taste of Rhode Island, a slice of what's happening on the world stage, some
Hmm.
commentary and some black woman rage and wrath, as well as some joy and some inspiration. We we
More
we,
joy than rage and wrath.
we give it all. We bring it all.
And next week, we have a viewer question.
Ah,
Or a listener question, depending on where you're checking us out. Because on YouTube, there are a lot of people who like to just watch us on YouTube, but a lot
mhm,
of our viewers just listen to us on Spotify.
yeah.
And don't see, even though that's a video as well. But we do have our first viewer question.
I love it. Well, it's our first official one. I feel like people pull me over on the streets and be like, "What about this? What about that?" And they throw things at me, and they want to see content. And I think we try to build and incorporate a lot of that into. But this is our first official
The first
one that we are actually being
scenario,
deliberate about.
SE. So yeah, it'll be a good one. So we'll talk about that next week.
And we will be back next week. I'm not gonna play y'all. We're not gonna do this again. We're not gonna skip a week on y'all like we did last time.
Yeah, what do I have coming up? Like, oh yeah, because it's like seven. Ramadan ends on Saturday.
Well,
So
spring has sprung. Spring is officially
feel it.
here. So lots is going on. Lots of things are going on. But I also want to drop just a quick note. If you listen to this early enough in the day, you can still hit up the TEDx Roxbury Salon that's going to happen on Monday, March. What is it? The 25th. Monday, March
Oh
24th. My
yeah.
bad.
Okay.
So the TEDx Salon is going to be happening at Soul and Spice in Roxbury, Massachusetts. It's an amazing fundraiser for TEDx Roxbury. You may remember we had some of those speakers on last year, and we will have some speakers on for the 2025 edition this year. But we're raising funds to be able to put on this great presentation. Minimum contribution is $25, and you can do it virtually or in person. Come through if you want to have some food and some fun. 6 p.m. at Soul and Spice, down Dudley. If you
Are
know,
you going?
absolutely.
Okay, I might hitch a ride with you.
I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
I'm
All
gonna be
right.
there. So
Well,
that's
that's
it.
great. And so until next time, have a great week.
Until the next time.
Have a great week. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, but not on TikTok.
Not on motherland.
So until then, have a great week.
Until then, thanks to everyone who already voted. Thank you.